Lou Orlando, Nick Guzman, Chaz McAdams are joined by Fordham men's basketball head coach Mike Magpayo. Coach, you've had some time to settle down, make some moves in the transfer portal. We're real happy to have you here in the FUV studios. Thanks for coming by.
Of course, man. This is an awesome studio. I've never been down here before. Very cool.
Well, we're very lucky to be here and get to work here 24/7. Yeah. But I guess, let's start with, the last time we really saw you publicly was at the introductory press conference. It had been a whirlwind. You come to New York City and, everything's going immediately. It's been about a month now. So I guess month check-in.
Yeah.
How's everything been? Again, you've been able to fill out this roster a little bit, add to the coaching staff. Just talk us through when that's been like.
Yeah, it's really been like a New York minute, like you said in the last month. It's been going fast, and trying to get the staff together, trying to put the pieces of a roster together, which is daunting. And we've just been working nonstop at it, kind of like you're saying, 24/7 here in the studio. We're 24/7 up there in Rose Hill right now. So, but it's been going well. There's obviously been, I'll say, like a little bit of a honeymoon period. People are excited about what we can offer the program, and some people are jumping in saying yes. But we still need a couple big dogs, as we say. Looking for a couple all-league type players, and that search continues even today.
And Coach, what you're trying to do is you're putting together a team with not a lot of time to do so. But when you're looking to recruit and you're looking at players, what specific attributes are you looking for that tell you that person would fit well on a Mike Magpayo coach team?
Yeah, first we definitely character, the great attitude, great work ethic, what you guys heard me say at the press conference. That is number one, and trying to figure that out. So we're vetting these guys now, especially in this new, we'll call it the NIL transfer portal world. Like, you have to make sure that these guys are good dudes and they're made of the right stuff, and they're tough enough to go through what is going to be a really demanding program for them. I mean, we're pretty relentless in our approach of accountability and the way that we use metrics and whatnot. So, and that kind of goes towards recruiting. I'm looking for efficient players. So guys that shoot efficiently from 2, efficiently from 3, that take care of the ball, that have positive assist-to-turnover ratios. Efficiency can also be rebounding and also being a good defender. So you're looking, I'll say a 6'2" player, guys that can dribble, drive, pass, shoot, defend, and rebound. But still, there's metrics that we use to see how efficient they are, and that kind of helps us in constructing the roster. And everybody's got to have different roles, too. Not everybody. There's going to be some higher usage guys. You'll hear me talking these analytics all the time, but some guys that higher usage guy, I guess for you guys, would be like Jackie Johnson. That was one guy that was a high usage guy. And Medor, that was another one. So, and then you got to mix in the guys that complement them well. So that we're looking at all those things. And then talent, you want talent. I mean, of course you're trying to find that, but that's where the challenge is, right? Like, we are we're Moneyball. We're the Oakland A's. We're not the Dodgers right now. We're trying to be strategic and find undervalued assets. So it's a lot of fun. I see it as a huge opportunity that I get to build the roster from the ground up. But so it's not as easy. It's like, if I could say, like, okay, Mike Magpayo team, I want positional size, so on and so forth. And you're seeing we're getting some big guys, and I do like the positional size. I want to have some length, but it's what can you attract with the resources that we have, So that's a big part of it right now.
But building off of the traits, I remember you saying in the press conference that there's a certain attitude to New York City, and you want to find guys that are bought into being in New York City. So how do you evaluate that? Whether that's on tape, whether that's in interviews where you can deem their character, like, what are you looking for with that?
That's the first slide of our presentation when we do the recruiting Zooms. And nowadays it's like speed dating, the way that recruiting is. And this 2 months used to be the time off for coaches, and now it's turned into this really like you're on the hustle and you're trying to figure. So that's like the first slide in the presentation. Number one, like, if a guy's from a big city, that helps. If they're from Chicago, like we just signed a kid from. Well, we haven't signed. I can't talk about his name yet, but he committed to us from Chicago. So you're looking for guys like that. Obviously, if we can get bounce backs, or if we find a really good incoming freshman from the area that's from New York City, but it's just addressed right away. Like, are you into this? Is this something you're attracted to? So that is just first and foremost, and then we can get into the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But we have to cover that right away, and usually know that pretty early on.
You talked about that positional size that you guys are looking for, and just kind of speaking, because obviously you're essentially starting from scratch on this roster with a limited amount of time, and especially with that new legislation for the NCAA with those roster spots on the floor, it's just kind of a very chaotic time to be a coach in college basketball. So kind of light at the end of the tunnel thing. What can you speak on with Jack Whitborn? Obviously that new signing that you guys just got. Just what is he going to bring to the table in the Rose Hill Gym?
Yeah, that was it for me. That's an exciting one because I recruited him personally out of Australia. That's been our point of difference, and that's where we get a lot of our size from. In the past, my 5 years as head coach at UC Riverside, we've gone down under to get size, and to be able to get him and bring him along with us, who had a very good freshman campaign. That's kind of what you're looking for as a freshman, to play 13 to 15 minutes a game, and his metrics of averaging, he was one of the best rebounders per minute in the country. So we know that's what we're getting. He's 6'11" and a true 18-year-old freshman at the time. Now he's coming in as a 19-year-old here, getting bigger, stronger. Plays for the Australian national team. Very exciting one for us. I think he's a potential all-league player in the Atlantic 10 in the future. Just his skill and just the competitive nature that he has. He does have some toughness to him. He has both his parents are really impressive doctors, and they really have this high-performing mindset for him. They're actually tougher on him than I am, which is great. So that one's a really exciting one for us, and I think the Rose Hill crowd's going to love him.
And Coach, even with the nature of the transfer portal these days, with older players, you can turn a bad team into a good team really quickly. But how important is it to emphasize the importance of recruiting still young players and bringing in freshmen and continuing that cycle?
Yeah, you nailed it. We got to have balance. So we have signed some older players, and we have some older players committed to us, like grad transfers and guys who've been in college for 2-3 years. But that's why it's so important to bring in like those freshmen that we're talking about. You want to try to, in today's world, and my AD doesn't love when I say it's like you're looking at 2 years. You're going to have these guys for your goal is to keep a guy for 2 years. Can you keep him for 2 years? So if you have him as a freshman playing for 13 to 15 minutes a game, and then boom, he comes back because he believes that next year he's going to be popping up to 20, 25 minutes a game. Those 2 years are hugely valuable. So you do need the young ones coming through, and in the future as we get good, the New York City and the Northeast kids are going to start to want to come here as well. It may not be the name brand right now until we start winning games, but I'm definitely going to be looking for some of those younger guys. And then Europe, we're going to be international. We'll find some younger guys to develop, and hopefully you keep from 2, and then maybe you keep them for 3, especially if you get your NIL resources up to par.
It's a really interesting jumping point for something I wanted to ask you about, which is obviously the NIL era has changed a lot, but when you look at the A10 and the teams that have turned themselves into consistent programs, I think right now probably all agree that VCU has been the gold bar, because you look at, they've changed coaches a few times. Yeah. They've had completely different rosters, and it still feels like you can lock them in. They're going to be a top 4 team in the A10. In an era of basketball where you can go 2 seasons, and as you said, you might have a completely different roster. You might have to rely on older, experienced guys. How do you create culture when the faces are going to change?
Oh, I still think. I mean, you look at teams like VCU, and on the West Coast, it's Gonzaga, St. Mary's, San Diego State. Like they change over. Gonzaga obviously is similar to VCU in that they have the most resources in the league, but that was built over time. Like you got to respect what Mark Few's done there, and same thing. On the West Coast, St. Mary's is one of those programs that's just established itself year after year. Doesn't matter the faces change, but that the coaching and the culture of what Randy Bennett does. VCU is so interesting. Obviously, they have an amazing arena, and the fan base, and the Richmond really supports them in a big time way. And you see it. I mean, all the coaches that have gone through there, Shaka Smart, Will Wade, so on and so forth. They've all had Coach Odom have had enormous amounts of success. That's the one I look at is like St. Bonaventure, just to see like that culture. Of what Coach has done there is so impressive, man. I look up to him so much because he's done it at a hard place in Olean, New York, which somebody would consider that a hard place, and he's built a consistent culture, and or at least it feels like that. If you actually look at his record, he's had some down years and whatnot, but they're just, when you talk about St. Bonaventure, you just go like there's a consistency, and that's what I would look to replicate here at Fordham. Just like understanding, like when you think of them, you think well coached, gritty, and that's kind of the identity that's been established, an identity that I'd like to establish here, just something of that nature.
And then part of that identity, obviously, I think as a head coach, you're only as good as your staff. Like, that is so important for your player development, for how you're doing your minutes, for adjustments that you're making on the fly. Bring in Derek Phelps.
Yeah.
Yesterday. What is he bringing to your program, and how is he going to continue that legacy for the Fordham Rams?
Number one, he's my bodyguard in New York City. He's also great, I guess, eye candy for the program, just because he's in New York City, born and raised. He's one of New York City's sons who won a national championship. And so you can imagine just all the wisdom that he brings, and expertise, also being a big guard. So it's a big point guard, on captain and learned under Dean Smith. It is a really easy selling point to recruit guards, saying that we have a national championship point guard. Not only he was the captain of that team that won the national championship. Not only that, when Chris Webber called that timeout, it was Coach Phelps who was trapping him. And also just that he knows our program. He worked for my mentor at 3 different universities, in Columbia University, where Coach Phelps and I crossed paths, University of San Francisco, where we worked. Coach Phelps and I spent a year together, and then he went with Coach Smith, Kyle Smith, my mentor, to Washington State. So he was an associate head coach at 3 different stops. He knows exactly the way that we think as a program. The program that we're going to run and the blueprint of it is very similar to what he experienced there. So just having that continuity and that relationship, the players will feel that as well, that there is some like a seamlessness between the way that Coach Phelps and I will operate.
Talking about exciting guards, I'm seeing a lot of excitement about your backcourt. And de Jure, Chaz got a great quote from one of his teammates about the type of player de Jure is, and obviously he was a leading scorer for Iona. Talking to Andrew Bogish, he was really excited about Christian Henry out of Eastern Michigan. And then even Lesman, I'm seeing a lot of people say, like, he's a really exciting guy that, if he's a starter, he's going to give you guys great minutes. What are you expecting from this backcourt? Should Fordham fans be excited about that?
Well, all 3 of those guys aren't officially signed yet.
Okay.
So
I'm
not
sorry.
allowed to. That's okay. I'm not. You can talk about them, but let's talk about backcourt potential signees or whatever. As you're looking for production. I think that any of the backcourt guys that we're looking at, or that have are looking at jumping in, are extremely efficient. When you look at these guys' numbers, you're going to see high percentages in a lot of areas. Or, there'll be a player, for instance, perhaps one of the guys that you guys know is coming, he had a ridiculously efficient year 2 years ago. And and so we're identifying, okay, maybe he struggled on a team because their team wasn't as good offensively. And can we, in this new environment, can we revitalize him and get him back to those ridiculously efficient numbers from 2 seasons ago? And we've done that in the past. So I think you're going to see all the guys in the backcourt that can make threes. That's going to be really exciting. And then they all have their different strengths. Some are lengthy defenders, some are really quick penetrators. So you're going to see, I think, an exciting backcourt for sure. One that can definitely make threes, and then hopefully we can just bring the leadership part of it. But all 3 of those potential backcourt guys that we're going to get have experience, have college experience, and that's the other exciting thing is we're old. We would be old at the perimeter, which is good.
Coach, we've seen, for us during our time here, our sophomore year, the Rose Hill Gym, a historic venue, we had a really good team, and that place got loud. It shook. It was packed to the brim. Last year at Riverside, you guys were 14-1 at home.
Yeah.
Kind of turned that place into a sanctuary. How important is it to have that home court advantage and have the Rose Hill Gym sort of popping off in a way that we all know it can?
Oh, it's priority number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I took a lot of pride in it. I also am not the kind of guy who's going to say, like, hey, marketing people, ticketing people, like now it's our job to pack the gym.
Mm-hmm.
With number 1, the kind of guys that we recruit, that they're in class with you guys, and you're like, this guy's a good dude, and this guy's, but also with just the a winning product on the floor. That really is what it comes down to. I think the people will come. My mentor, Coach Smith, would say that all the time. He's like, stop asking the ticketing people, like, we will do it. You'll see us out there, and I'll buy pizzas for everybody. I will do that. I will do whatever it takes, because I really do think that helps you win. I didn't think there was a study somebody sent me like 10 years ago. The officials absolutely respond to the crowd. They will call differently in front of our bench versus in front of the opponent's bench. And so you're telling me a sold out. Just in those few workouts that I had this spring, I couldn't hear myself when the ball was bouncing. It's that loud in Rose Hill. So I can't even imagine what it feels like if that place is packed. So, you're talking about our 14-1 record. That doesn't happen without the 40% increase in attendance in the, for UCR home history. Like it wouldn't have happened without it. And I can tell you for sure the crowds mattered. And I definitely believe it affects the officiating. I really do. So bring it. Keep them coming.
I mean, I'd love to talk a little bit about UCR because you come in under David Patrick and have a couple strong seasons there, and then you take it over. And I've talked to a few people that said Riverside is such a tough place to win at. And not only did you win, you did it consistently and very loudly and successfully. When you look at Fordham, I've heard a lot of people call Fordham a sleeping giant because of where it is and, again, the fan base when it gets passionate. But on paper, this is a struggling program.
Yeah.
You had experience with turning a struggling program around. What are the keys to that? What did it take at Riverside to get them to a place where they could win 20 games?
Yeah, I really do see it as a sleeping giant, and we're in New York City. You know what I mean? And very similar pitch. You see Riverside is in Southern California, but it's a little outside of LA. And so we're here in New York City, but we're in the Bronx, right? With a beautiful campus and a beautiful academic profile. So very similar things to sell. And like I said, first thing when we got to UC Riverside, and I work for David Patrick, who was Australian. Like I said, our point of difference, we went where they ain't. Like if I was gonna if I'm here and I have to bang my head against the wall and just recruit against New York City, St. John's, and we're not gonna win that battle yet until we start winning. We didn't recruit Southern California kids. We did our job like we were supposed to, and we knew all the Southern California kids, but we went where they ain't. So we went where people were going to appreciate Southern California. That was our Northern California kids. That might have been somebody from Arizona or Chicago that wanted to move to Southern California, experience that. And the same thing here in New York City. Now you're looking at international kids. Like those guys are going to be really interested in coming to New York City. And Canadians, we did really well at Columbia, recruiting Canada and Germany. And so we'll look for more of the same here. So that's how you kind of build it. You go where they ain't. You're not necessarily trying to go up against, let's say, any of the league. You're just not going against VCU Dayton. You're trying to recruit from different buckets first. Once you build it, they will come. When you build it, you'll start to see, and all of a sudden at UC Riverside, our best player the last 2 years was a Los Angeles kid. Now we finally got our Los Angeles kid, and we started recruiting Southern California. So that's what I hope to do. But really, and then it really get a great coaching staff together. That's what we've done. I think that hopefully they'll all be official soon here in the next 2 weeks. Get a great coaching staff together that can do a great job building relationships with these guys, and then the culture, all that stuff matters. So that's what we're looking to do.
Real quick on the staff, because it's become a little bit of a storyline in the A-10. Do you think Fordham needs a GM and whatever that would look like? Is that something you would consider either this year or down the line?
I do think so. For now, it's doable without a GM. One of my great friends, Coach Golden at Florida, they basically, and that's exactly how we're operating. We're kind of managing that ourselves. But you're seeing a lot of programs go with a GM because it's just a different world. It's like, if I have to talk to the agents and I have to coach the player, it's like I'm using my coaching equity in the negotiations as well. And really all I want to talk to the player about is basketball and recruit him there. So in essence, you're doing both, right? Like you're the GM and the coach, and it's absolutely doable. Golden at Florida just won a national championship. And so it is nice to have a little bit of input and control in who you're signing. I don't know if you want to go full GM, but it is nice to have a GM that's going to negotiate with the agent. And it's not as clean. Like this is happening fast. Like these student athletes, these players, they don't realize like this is a real professional business now. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars of line, some millions. And these agents, not all of them are equipped as well, you know what I mean, to like operate the way that NBA agents, people who have been doing it for a long time. So it's happening really fast. I do think that eventually we will probably move in that direction, or have somebody that has a list of agents and knows how to communicate and negotiate with them.
Absolutely. And I guess there's a lot of chaos right now in college basketball, especially with that legislation on the Senate floor. Can you kind of speak to like an uneducated mass on how that affects you as a coach with those 15 scholarships, that limit? Can you just kind of speak to that?
Well, for us, we're not going to have 15 scholarships. We're going to have 13, but the 15 roster spots, I think, listen, the NCAA's changed things constantly. It's the most volatile offseason in college basketball history. There's no question about it.
Right.
And we're in transition right now, so we're feeling it at the nth degree. Hopefully they get this thing passed soon so that everybody can move forward and know the direction we're going in. But unfortunately, what they're eliminating is walk-ons, which is really disappointing.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me and many people, which is kind of what's holding up the official.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what, because again, I like this near and dear to my heart. Like, walk-ons is like such an important part of college, because I think it's so different from football, because you have a million walk-ons in college football and you got guys that actually play. But you talked about the continuity that you need in a program like Fordham, and you talked about only being able to keep your really solid players for 2 years. You're going to get that continuity from your walk-ons.
I mean, we remember we had a kid, Albie Evans,
He was captain senior year.
5'9",
5'9",
but broke all these scoring records in Pennsylvania.
In Schuylhaven, Pennsylvania, where Mike Rhodes is from.
His nickname was the mayor of Rose Hill. He would get standing ovations, and he didn't play in a lot of big games, but he would get in at the end if the score was lopsided. But like, the community really loved him and rallied around him, and he was a huge part of the team. And every single player, whether it was Drew Bohams or Antrell Charlton, they would all tell you that they would die for that kid. And again, it's such a big part of the game.
Yeah, I don't. Again, that particular rule, the roster spot, just doesn't make sense to many of us. Doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, I don't get why would they suffer? Why are we punishing walk-ons? Like, give 15 scholarships. First of all, I don't even know why they're giving 15 scholarships. That doesn't make sense to me.
Who is maintaining 15 especially
everybody's
going to
maintain it, but I mean, they're using those other two in unique ways, right? I mean, as you can imagine, because think about it, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are mad at me every single game.
Right.
That's why you do need young ones, because you should have two redshirting, 12 and 13, and 11 and 10. Maybe they're playing sometimes, but they're not. Like, most coaches get down to a 7 to 8 man rotation down the stretch, So, yeah, I hope they figure that out. I think that they're just so, like, getting hit from every angle. The NCAA, they just keep they're getting sued all the time, so they're just like saying yes to this, yes to that. Things are changing constantly. Eventually, maybe it won't, but hopefully they figure it out in the next 2-3 years, because this thing kind of needs to level out a little bit. But who knows, man?
Coach, shifting gears a little bit, Fordham's a very unique school. We all love it, but in terms of location, profile, I think student body, it's got a uniqueness to it. What have you learned about the school in your limited time here so far? I know it's only been over a month. Maybe it's something that surprised you.
Well, I've been here for the best month ever, because it's been beautiful weather, and just to see it. Because, like I said in my press conference, I had only been here to recruit Rose Hill, and Rose Hill when I recruited the high school playoffs every year during my Columbia days. Never walked around campus. So, number one, it's gorgeous. And definitely I've seen, like, everybody I ask, like, if I'm going to this building to meet with the admissions later, I'm going to this building to meet for somebody to give me a key. People have been here for 14 years, 22. Public safety guy had to open the door for me the other night. He's like, he'd been here for 14 years, and his kids went to college here, and he's like, can I drive you back to your apartment? So everybody's really proud of Fordham. I think everybody is proud of the college they went to, but I'm like, if I'm wearing Fordham and I go on a plane, I was flying out of Newark down to San Antonio for the Final Four after my press conference. People are just random. People are just like,
you'll get it all the time.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And so just that you can feel it. That's real. There's no question about it. I mean, that is real, 100%. And many people, like we were at Wednesday night, we were down at the NYAC, New York Athletic Club, for Dickie V's. They give him an award, and then they honored Gina Auriemma and Todd Golden. So I was there to support and I mean, I just constantly people are coming with some sort of Fordham dad, son, or I went to Fordham Law School, or whatever it is. So there's so much pride. It's fantastic. Like, I really see, that's why I see that we can build it, and if we could put a winning product on the floor, this thing could blow up, you know what I mean, in a great way. So, and they want to, like, everybody wants it. Everybody keeps introducing themselves to me. And first of all, it's awesome, because we had our recruits one time walking down the street, and everybody just started yelling at me, and the guy, it was just perfect. It was awesome, and we got 3 of those guys committed, and so you can feel it. I've certainly, even I'm talking to my wife, but I'm like, hey, I think you guys are gonna love it. It's just I want my 4-year-old and 3-year-old just like hanging around campus all the time. Because it is really unique, in that, like, it's all this. We're all our little like hub. Like Coach Phelps always calls it like Harry Potter, like Harry Potter land. This little beautiful land here inside the Bronx. That's, we're very. But like I said, man, I'm addicted to Arthur Avenue already. I go there twice a day.
What's your favorite spot on it?
I mean, I like Michelangelo's. Enzo's and Mars are good, but Michelangelo's just because I know that there's TVs in the back that we can watch the game. So we've been kind of like closing our nights as a staff there. I love that hall with a cigar roller in the middle. Cause
the covered market.
Every win, I said, we're coming here and we're getting a cigar or something. So that's really cool, that market. So I love it both. I love going in the morning and getting a coffee and just kind of sitting watching all the madness going on, and then we usually close our nights there. So hopefully I'm getting fat though. I'm eating way too much Italian food.
Welcome to Arthur Avenue. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Hey, you're right about the weather. I would say that the 4 best months at Fordham: September, October, and then it's April, May. It gets a little humid in the summer.
Yeah, it gets humid. I'm sure. Yeah,
it's gorgeous. I want to talk about analytics because it feels like every place you've been at, I mean, the quote from Kyle Smith was that at Columbia, you completely revolutionized their analytics. I've heard similar things at all your different stops. I don't need to know any of the trade secrets or anything like that. I'm more curious about, as an outsider, I guess I'm not sure, where is analytics at in college basketball right now? Like, is it fully here? Are most programs completely dug in on analytics at this point?
Yeah, I feel like we were just at the forefront back at Columbia, 2010 and 2014. Kyle was super analytically sound, and we kind of started to speak in that language. And I think everybody has caught up to what we were doing back then. Like, everybody looks at Ken Pom, which is Ken Pomeroy. Everybody uses that in their scouting reports. There's no question it's caught up. I think that, but even when we were hanging out Wednesday night, and I was with Todd Golden and Kevin Hovde, who's now the head coach at Columbia, Dan Giroux at Iona, and we're all very close friends. Dave Klatsky, who was former NYU head coach, who's going down in Florida. The way that we speak, I don't even know if everybody would understand it. Like, it's just like we speak in usages and offensive ratings, like that is how we recruit, and that's how we decide who we're taking. We speak in assist rate, we speak like just different rebounding rates as opposed to just like rebounding margin, which would be like the way that people talked 15 years ago, or assist to turnover. We're looking at different things, so we're looking at it through a different lens. We obviously really, really believe in it. I think I think we all benefited obviously from both Coach Smith, who's gone to Stanford, but we keep joking around with him like, because we always talk about this is going to be a movie. We all started at Columbia, and when Todd made the Final Four, we're like, oh, it's for sure going to be the movie. But when Golden won the national championship, we're like, Coach Smith, you're no longer the star of this. And he's like, that's all right. I'll just narrate it. I'll narrate it. And he's like, but it's not going to be a movie anymore. It's going to be a 2-season Netflix. I mean, like, this thing is going to happen. I'm telling you, because it really is just where Kobe Allman, and unfortunately they're down 0-2, but the Cleveland Cavs had the best record in the NBA at the same time, and Todd Golden won the national championship, and Coach Smith's at his dream job, Stanford, and I'm here at Fordham, and he's joking around. He's like, he said it in the group text just 2 days ago. He's like, this is crazy. The happiest, because Stanford is Coach Smith's dream job. He always said that over the last 15 years, and he's like, there's a guy at his dream job. There's a guy resting on top of his national championship trophy, and the happiest of all of us is Magpayo at Fordham, because I was FaceTiming with him, showing him the beautiful weather and everybody out on the lawn. So we speak in analytics, and I do think we have a lot of pride in it, and we really, really, really believe in it. And he still checks every single one of my recruits. And he's making sure. He's like, this guy better be, aligned with what we our Moneyball approach, our Nerdball approach. It has so many different names.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe it. But there's still a whole nother culture part to it that makes Coach Smith and all of us who work for him makes it work.
Absolutely. And to kind of a little more peek behind the curtain, so non-conference scheduling, obviously for basketball, that's more on you and your staff than for football with an athletic director. When you're and it's early days now, but when you're starting to look around and talk to other coaches and starting to form those games and form that schedule, are you looking to get some big game opportunities and try to maybe sneak a win off of Power 5 or something like that? Or are you looking to maybe teach your team how to win through non-con, so come 2026 and we get into A10 play, we're ready to go?
Yeah, both. I mean, I think that when you I remember when I walked into Coach Smith's office and I was like, oh, I'm a JV high school basketball coach in 2010. And I was trying to, and he's like, yeah, you're a sponge. Like, nobody cares. Like, the only thing that people care about, the two most important things in a basketball program are recruiting and scheduling. And so I was really lucky to get the schedule for him. And we were on the other side. Fordham's kind of like on the top side of scheduling. And I think that early on here, we do have to take the opportunity to, we weren't very good last year. So people are going to schedule us. And we do have to try to figure out how to win first. I do think that's really important. Like, it's so hard to win. It's so hard to win. Like, it's such a fine line between winning and losing. And you look at it all the time. This guy had, look at the last few years, 25-win season. And it's like, what happened? Like, why? How does that happen? And trust me, I try to study it. It keeps me up at night just thinking, like, you don't want to let go because, like, or Coach Spoelstra, he's great years or something. And one of my mentors, it's hard to win. So you have to learn how to win first. Am I looking at big games? Absolutely. And we'll see if anybody takes a bite. Because I would love to play. And I worship him, but like Rick Pitino, St. John's, I would love to get a chance to do that. I know we played him opening night last year. I would love to play UConn. I would love to play Villanova. Like, these would be historic games for us and see what we got. You know what I mean? And of course I do. Scheduling is a two-way street. They're looking at metrics. Is this a quad one opportunity? So those things are going to come into play too. So as we move forward and building the Fordham brand and building, like, we have to start when we get to a place, especially the A10, and we're going to be talking about it next week at the A10 meetings and how to get this conference back to being a multi-bid league. I mean, just 11, 12 years ago, it was 5 bids, 6 bids. And I saw it on the West Coast. The Mountain West did a fantastic job, which is very similar profile to A10 as far as the strength of the teams. They've been getting 3 to 5 teams in the last few years. They've figured it out, and that's through scheduling and whatnot. So there's going to be a point where this year probably have to learn how to win. But there's absolutely going to be a point. And, hey, listen, we have to get in the conversation. And if we're in the conversation, hopefully we're in the conversation for being a bubble team. But, like, you have to learn how to win. And then you do have to schedule to that. You have to start to look at your quad ones, your quad twos, and schedule, give yourself a chance to be an at-large team. That's a little further down the road. This year it's still about building it and learning.
I know especially a lot of the older school fans really like the local rivalries. So maybe a battle of the Bronx with Manhattan or a battle against your buddy at Iona. Are those things that you factor in as well? Yeah,
I think those are both going to happen. Knock on wood. Nothing's official yet, but I do think those are both. I mean, I don't love it, but the last 2 nights I've been with my buddy at Iona. He's come down to Arthur Avenue, and then we were at the NIAC event. And so we're always joking around, the Kevin Hovde, Columbia. We're all joking around with each other. But, you do want to schedule from a position of strength right now. And, again, the number one priority is we have to learn how to win first.
Gotcha. Right.
But I'm all right. I when I was here in the East Coast that first 4 years, I thought it was super cool what they did at the Palestra and the Big Six. And I think that'd be incredible, here to do it with Manhattan, Iona, Columbia, St. John's. But again, like St. John's, the same thing. Like they're not just saying yes to everybody. They want to schedule from a position of strength, and they're gonna what fits because a loss to any of those teams could eliminate them from the NCAA tournament, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like everybody's thinking. Of course, it'd be easy to say let's all play each other, which would be great. I think it'd be awesome, and maybe we'll get there.
I'll from not even from a coaching perspective, just like clearly someone that loves the game of basketball, especially the numbers behind it. What is your favorite stat to see in a player that if you see it jump out, like he's head and shoulders above the pack, that maybe not everyone else sees, just for you personally, if you're looking at a scouting report and you see that stat, what jumps out at you the most?
Yeah, I probably the guy
like picking
that I
your
work
favorite
for,
son.
Yeah, no, I think it's 3-point percentage. I think that's always gonna stick
straight
out to
up
me.
flat 3-point percentage.
That's gonna be the first thing. And sometimes and that's I learned
Tell that to the Celtics.
Yeah.
All right. But you know what? They've also that's why they won championships, right? And we're gonna see what happens here.
Right, we'll
Can they shoot? You're gonna
Chaz.
see it, right? Like, are they gonna shoot a higher percentage because they
go much
live
lower.
it? They can't.
Can't go much lower.
And it's like, but they believe in it, right? Like,
exactly. They live and die by that
absolutely.
system.
And they've been living, they rarely die.
They've been
Right.
thriving.
Yeah. They look dead the last 2 games.
They did only down the stretch, though. You know what I mean?
Well, they
and
go
like
up
you
20
said,
both
I
games,
know.
and then it's just like they don't
It's
know how to.
crazy.
Because when you're up 20, you got to adjust. You got to start eating and they just. It's I don't know. That's a whole front. This isn't pick and pot. I can't get into it right now. I'm gonna get a hot flash. I'm gonna have a panic attack.
That's a tricky one, though. Just kind of going with what you're just saying right now. When you're up by 20, like do you play prevent defense? Like you're just about to. It's not that. It's easy to say when we're out Sunday, especially when, like, listen, I'm a fan of the Lakers, and I always tell everybody, when I start talking about the Lakers, I'm not a coach. I get irrational. I start saying things, but just like, of course, like you look back, like, God, when you blow a lead, you're like, should we have played prevent defense? But then there's times when you go to your like delay game and your whatnot, and then you lose the rhythm of the game, and you lose anyway. You know, so it's such a that's tough. So you're obviously a Celtics fan.
Yeah, from it's tough. I haven't gotten any Stockholm syndrome from living in the Bronx for 4 years and being a Boston sports fan.
You're surrounded, though.
You're surrounded on all
constantly.
sides.
I got a little worried for you. You're covering the Knicks this year. You're close
Covering
to
the
them.
Knicks,
I got a little worried about you.
It was good, but I was good. I stay on by. I mean, the Knicks, as a Celtics fan, I guess it is Stockholm syndrome. The Knicks are my second favorite team because I cover them.
Interesting.
I know.
Wow.
And
Tough spot to be
and
in.
it breaks my heart what they're doing to me.
That's weird.
It breaks my heart.
Really
weird.
Yeah. It's weird.
I don't know about
I
that.
don't
I don't know.
I'm rooting for the Knicks
I think
just because I'm a
an
Lakers
exception
fan.
to the rule. Yeah. Oh, well, obviously.
Yeah, I can't
there's
have
that.
you two up on us.
Yeah. Come on now.
I'll close with this. It really stuck out to me from the introductory press conference. I wrote it down. I should underline it. You said, defend, rebound, take care of the ball.
Yeah.
And that was your mantra for the team. And I'm sure a lot of old head Fordham fans absolutely love that. Is that something we can see in like a T-shirt in the bookstore? Like I think you can really, market that. It sounds like obviously that's classic New York basketball.
Yeah.
But also, I mean I'm sure fans are gonna love to see that type of basketball.
Oh, it's just simple. You know, it's nothing tricky. It's defend, rebound, take care of the ball. And even though every single day when we go over our film, it's going to be defend, clips, rebound, clips, take care of the ball, clips. And when we go over our keys for the game, it's going to be defend, keys, rebound, keys. And that was what was really cool about hanging with Florida at the Final Four. You know, it just really confirmed. I got to go to all the practices and shoot-arounds and hang out with my boys and see them operate at a national championship level, which was just mind-blowing for them to get it done. And it was that simple. It was no different than what we've done since over the last 15 years. It was defend, rebound, take care of the ball, here are the keys. And it was really cool to see him get it done at the highest of levels with just the simplest of ways that we've been preaching the whole time that since we've been, from those Columbia days where it all started in New York City.
Chaz has got some experience designing shirts. I think you could sell some shirts there, man, with that mantra.
You need
Awesome,
a merch guy.
man.
You need a merch guy. Let me know.
I know. What's going to happen, though, is like
Keep
all
it in
those
the family.
Those guys are going to want copyright. Kyle's going to call you, and he's going to be like, make sure that I get
a whole
like.
thing.
I mean, if it takes me making a T-shirt to get a call from Kyle Smith, that's totally fine.
Oh, for sure. You're going to get that call. Trust me.
Fordham men's basketball head coach Mike Magpayo. Mike, we appreciate you coming into our studio and taking the time to talk with us here.
Awesome,
really
man.
appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Signing off, Chaz McAdams, Nick Guzman, Lou Orlando. Have a good one, everybody.